Serious questions, 5302 aside, will you continue to release on others' labels? Is it possible to tell a story with techno albums? Totally selfish as a Bitwig user, how about some mini guides to some of the devices such as the stock synths? Hey guys, welcome to the Kane audio vlog. It is Friday. It's time for another Ask Me Anything. Usual rules apply, comment anything you want below this video and I'll get back to you in next week's video. Before I look at last week's video, is there any house admin? Let me have a look. The Spotify playlist will be updated around now-ish. I think it's been a couple of weeks, has it? Let me have a quick look. Aside from that, the next 5302 release, so that's due for an update this week. The next 5302 release is from Tom Gatley. That is on the 29th. I don't even know what day it is today, so we've got 2 weeks for that, so I'll talk more about that next week. And hopefully we'll have some preview links in over the next couple of weeks as well. What else do I need to talk about? There was something I was thinking just as I was on my way in here. I'm actually filming this on Friday morning for the first time in ages. It's actually quite early in the morning and the heating hasn't fully warmed up in here yet. So it's 15.7 degrees in here, which is not unbearable, but it's a bit nippy. Although looking at my CCTV on my screen, it's very cold outside because everything's frozen over, so 15.7 degrees is not too bad to be in here. Yeah, I can't think. There was something, damn it, there was something I wanted to tell everyone. I can't remember what it was. Actually, aside, this wasn't the thing I was trying to remember, but just to let people know that I know a few of you viewers have been interested in the past and through the pandemic have been asking about whether I'm able to do one-to-one sessions or the like. And I've kind of been really hesitant about the whole thing, partly because everyone's been doing it during the pandemic and partly because I've not been aware of any good software that actually lets you allow the other person to see both you and your screen and most importantly hear good quality audio. I've been watching people doing these online tutorials and one-to-one sessions and whatever, and the audio quality on the receiving end has always been just terrible, like it's mono for a start. So I think I've always kind of felt like, you know, if you guys wanted an engineering session with me and to do it remotely, it wouldn't be very good because you're just hearing like a crap MP3, a mono MP3 version of what I'm listening to. And, you know, if I'm then going to be going, oh, you know, can you hear that EQ? You're not going to be able to hear the EQ. However, an update is that I have found a way of actually doing it now, so it's all good. So potentially that might go ahead for this year. I might start doing some sort of one-off one-to-one sessions with people remotely if that is something they're interested in. If it is something you're interested in, then send me a message, get in touch with me on, I don't know, some sort of social media or email, or I don't know, how do people contact each other these days? Do that. It's easy to find my contact info. It's all around the place. Get in touch, ask me, you know, whatever it is you're looking for, whether it's you know, just for me to listen to your track and give you some tips and advice, or whether you want me to actually engineer it for you or mix down or tutorial type stuff in any specific areas. Yeah, get in touch. And that, my friends, is it for house admin. Can't think of whatever it was I wanted to talk to you about, so we'll just pretend it never happened. It's all good. Starting at the top, last week's video was Ask Me Anything 137. This week is 138. We are approaching 150. Fanfan87, salut Dom, review, high five, ça va. In my recommendations, I have 2 hours long conferences on climate with Jean-Marc Jancovici. Can't recommend enough his masterclasses in English. And 3 hours long interviews on Think of You. So I'm also anti-culture. Right. I think this is probably when I was talking about counterculture, which is a little bit different to anti-culture. But I've never heard of him. I'll look him up. Cheers. And reviewing VSTs 100% in, great idea. So yeah, this was kind of a fleeting idea I had, and I'm still kind of keen to do it. With this YouTube channel, I feel like I need to be doing more than just AMAs. Not that I feel like I should, more that I want to do more than just AMAs. And I was kind of thinking the other day that, you know, people have got in touch with me, you know, can I do a review video on such and such VST and whatever. And I kind of thought, well, I mean, that's all good, but like there's a lot of people out there who do great reviews and stuff on all the big synths and whatever. And I kind of felt like this channel isn't really about doing reviews, but actually maybe if I did a particular style of review where maybe, and I don't know, this is just kind of off the top of my head, but if I literally just load the VST and just like for the first time on camera and just play around with it and see how easy it is to use and what it's capable of and whatever. So it's not so much a review like a polished. The problem with a lot of reviews out there, especially on YouTube, is because they're, first of all, because they're paid for. A lot of them can be very positive when maybe the product isn't really that good. The other thing is all these reviews and stuff I see on YouTube make everything look really easy because they've obviously had practice on the thing beforehand. So I kind of prefer like more like a first experience type thing. But anyway, yeah, it's an idea at the minute, but the year is new, so now's the time to be looking at these things. Serious questions, 5302 aside, will you continue to release on others' labels? EPs on Mousetrap, for example. Yes, I mean, I have no... I have no intention of burning any bridges or anything like that. I have had lots of releases on Mousetrap, and they've been a really good label. The setting up of 5302 was, for me, it was kind of something that was not going to overlap or interfere with Mousetrap in my head. I felt like it wasn't, the style of music that 5302 are looking for is not the same style of music that Mousetrap would release, although there would be very similar sounds and vibes, I guess. So as far as I'm concerned, I've still got every intention on releasing on other labels. It's just that everything's been so busy this last year, and with the pandemic and everything, I've not really had much time to sort of work on that kind of music myself. Plus, obviously, with my album coming out last year, I don't think I even touched Bitwig for myself from January until the album came out, really. I just wasn't interested in making music, partly because of fear, because I didn't want to make a new track and then go, damn, I wish this was in my album. As weird as it sounds, I didn't want to make a good track. Whereas now the album's out and it's all doing fine, I can kind of get back in the swing of things. So I've got every intention of releasing on other labels in time. I just think it's one of those things as well that, Mousetrap has really been one of the only labels in a long time that has actually been worthwhile releasing with as well. And I think I've got to, I don't think I can say that enough, to be honest. There are so many labels out there, great labels as well. But you just don't get anything back from them. In your opinion, is it possible to tell a story with techno albums? I think about Dave Clark or DVS1, for example, putting their visions into albums but making club-orientated music, though. I mean, look, yeah, technically it's possible to tell a story through anything you want. However, I'm not convinced that techno is really the best storytelling genre. I mean, I guess it depends on what your story is, and I guess it also depends on what kind of techno, because techno is kind of a broad spectrum, really, isn't it? I mean, if you want to get really nerdy, my album was kind of, there was elements of techno in there, so that's probably a bit of a stretch, but you get what I'm saying. Techno is such a vast genre. Techno for me could be what, verging on 80s electro, all the way through to Dave Clark or Dave the Drummer or Chris Liebing or the drum code stuff. There's a vast array of things in there, and now of course you've got things like melodic techno and whatever as well, which, let's be honest, is just heavy progressive, I think. But yeah, so I think in that respect, yeah, I suppose you could tell a story with techno albums, or very specific stories, definitely. But I kind of feel like if you want to do an album and you want to tell a story, I would say don't stick to one genre. Like, obviously don't do a classical song, a pop song, a heavy metal song, a techno song, whatever, because that would just be weird. You don't want to alienate your own audience. But again, I'm going to refer back to my own album, and I hate to do this because it feels like I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but part of the intent of my album was to not really be concerned with genres. If you look at the first 2 or 3 tracks, they're kind of techno-y-ish, kind of progressive-ish, but not really. And then they start going off into like a breaksy type thing, and then there's a couple of tracks in there that don't have any drums at all, and they're just sci-fi soundscape type things. So there's a bit of everything in there, and while I've kind of kept the BPM pretty much the same throughout the album, there's a few slower, there's a few slightly faster, but it's pretty much a similar BPM, and it's the soundscape and everything is kind of, I've kind of made everything gel together as best as I can, I suppose, without really thinking about genres. So yeah, that's probably a really long way of answering your question. Next question: How far has your Hackintosh? How far has been your Hackintosh experience? How has, I suppose, is what you're trying to say. How has your Hackintosh experience been? I've given up on the Hackintosh thing, if I'm honest. I think, yeah. So first of all, the pandemic took away what budget I had, because I was saving all the Patreon money and then sort of doubling it myself. And then I was going to sort of just splurge it all on the Hackintosh stuff. And the pandemic at one point took everything out of that. And then I thought, okay, well, then things kind of got back to normalish financially and whatever. And then, of course, Apple announced the M1 chip. And then I saw that, I think it was someone like Linus Tech Tips, or someone was trying to do a Hackintosh and they'd found a way of doing it. But that way of doing it kind of meant it wasn't really upgradable and or updatable, I should say, in an easy way. And I was thinking originally that what I was going to do was build the Hackintosh and then give it away. And then because of the fact that Apple had basically, and there was the whole fear of, well, our Hackintosh is even going to be able to exist once the M1 chip takes over. I kind of didn't want to be giving away a Hackintosh that was never going to be a beast of a machine anyway, but I didn't want to be giving it away, and then 6 months later that person's just got a massive expensive doorstop because there was no updates available. So I kind of, in the end, I just decided, you know what, the Hackintosh isn't the way forward. And if you remember, that whole Hackintosh series idea came from me needing to update my, or get rid of, or move on from my Mac Pro Tower, But actually I was forced to change that when it stopped working and I had to get the iMac. So my view at the time was to build a Hackintosh to see how capable it was going to be of being a serious machine. So yeah, so it kind of, there's a whole load of reasons, but yeah, I just think it just wasn't right to do the Hackintosh thing. I kind of felt like by the time I'd actually finished it, it would be outdated already. So yeah, so I didn't think it was really much point. Moving on. Andrew Hollis, review, high five. I was thinking about your question regarding what content for this channel. 1, reviews, yes please. Okay, so I think we're on an agreement here with the reviews thing. Perhaps lesser known plugins. YouTube is awash with popular plugin reviews, and unless you get in early, the momentum is lost. I agree. Yeah, so I think I would avoid the obvious, Native Instruments and whatever. But yeah, and also I don't want this whole channel to become a big review channel, because that's not in my interest. It's probably not in your interest either, because why would you want to see that? So it's more about finding lesser known and slightly more quirky plugins, I think. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. But again, it's a fleeting thought I had that it's something I'll look into. Number 2, totally selfish as a Bitwig user. How about some mini guides to some of the devices, such as the stock synths? No longer than 30 minutes. Tie that in with Patreon and have patches and presets available with multi-sample versions for non-Bitwig users. The Black Dog did this with 6 sample packs and presets for live. I just harvest the samples supplied. It's a win-win for all. You get more subscribers and they get exclusive. I do like that idea. That's a hell of a lot of work. I'm not sure I like the idea of that much work. I think this is one of the problems with me and my YouTube channel, is that I have never really intended to be a YouTuber, and by that I mean I'm not fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to have enough free time to really dedicate to this channel to make it, a proper fully fledged YouTube channel. And I know there are guys out there who I don't know who you were just talking about. You did mention someone. I don't even know who that person is, the Black Dog. So I'm not talking about the Black Dog because I don't know who the Black Dog is. But there are certainly some people out there who still live in their parents' basement and are rent-free and have all the time in the world to put together amazing packages and build up huge subscriber numbers. And that's great for them. I'm jealous, not bitter. That's the great way to do it if you can. But yeah, I don't have the luxury of affording that. However, what we're talking about here is doing some Bitwig specific presets and stuff, which I think is probably possible. So yeah, it's definitely something I'll look into. If I'm honest, I've never really used the Bitwig built-in synths in any big way. I love them and I use them, I guess, but I don't know if I actually explore them enough. And I've kind of said this about every DAW I've ever had, if I'm honest. Even when I was using Live for decades, I don't think I ever really truly explored the built-in synths anywhere beyond what I needed them to do, and I feel like I'm probably missing out by doing that. So it is something I'm interested in doing, especially with the grid as well. I think the grid has got countless possibilities, but I think the biggest obstacle on that is probably my own imagination. So yeah, there we go. Rob Marcani, review, high five. Yes, Tom, would love to see you do some reviews on synths, plugins, etc. Many thanks for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And finally, Open Minds. Hi, mate. First off, here's to another shit but necessary lockdown in the UK. I'm in the southeast, so things are extremely crap on the COVID front. Yes, they sure are down there. I have a lot of family down in the southeast, and it's not looking great. So my thoughts go out to you. Again, thanks for doing these videos. Definitely changes things up from the usual COVID news. No questions this week, but stay safe and look forward to the next video. All the best, Unknown Artist. P.S. Yes to reviews. High five and review. Well, high five. Right. Thank you very much, people. That is it for this week. Hopefully I have not been too... I don't even know what the word is. It's too early in the morning for me to finish that sentence. There we go. I think I need another one of these coffees. It's now 16.8 degrees. It's getting there. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want a high five in next week's video, comment the word slow, because that is how my brain works. And I'm looking at a video saying filming inside a slow motion vortex. The slow-mo guys. I'll see you this time next week. Cheers.